All right, class of 2020, we are going to get started on our next series for financial aid packaging for your college and what you're doing in the fall. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is start to share my screen with you guys so you can see what I'm seeing. And we're going to start off with the presentation. I'm calling it, talking you guys as lingo, calling it securing the bag, because when you are on your way to college, you want to make sure that you are securing your financial package, and that is essentially securing your money to fund you and to fund your academics and eventually your career in the future. So I'm calling that securing the bag. Again, this is all about financing college. So what I'm going to do is talk through a little bit of the various options you have to be able to pay for your finances and pay for school. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is one of the best things, which is grants. Grants come from the federal government, state, or the college itself. This is considered a gift aid and does not have to be repaid. So again, you want to make sure that you are trying to get as many grants as possible, because again, these are forms of money you do not have to pay back. There is no cap on how much. It just depends on the government, the state, college, again, specifically around your financial situation. I'm going to give you a couple examples of any grants. So specifically in the state of Indiana, they have what's called the 21st Century Scholarship. The 21st Century Scholarship provides full tuition only to any student who meets a specific amount of requirements, and this comes from the state. They give you money to, again, attend any public institution within the state of Indiana, and they will offer that tuition. Another option or another possibility is an example of being in the groups program. IU Bloomington has a groups program where as you apply, you get accepted into this program your senior year. You do a 7-week program over the summer, and once upon your completion, they will fund your schooling for those next 4 years that you're there. Again, all of this is money you do not have to pay back. Next option, we're going to talk about scholarships. Scholarships are considered gift aid. Does not have to be repaid. They have, the only difference between the grant and a scholarship, I would say, is that there's more to it. In terms of a scholarship, there's going to be some criteria you're going to have to meet, depending on if it's merit-based. I know there's a lot of merit-based scholarships. They may have a GPA requirement. They may have a specific ACT or SAT requirement. It also may be an opportunity where you may have to be a specific major. So again, those things are, a scholarship can be either need-based, merit-based, or around a specific major or career. So those are kind of some of the differences between a scholarship and a grant. Grant is just automatic based off your financial situation. Scholarships are going to always be more specific to your situation, again, based on how good you are with your schooling, in terms of your academics. Again, also sometimes in terms of majors and careers. And another thing about scholarships is that it can be renewed yearly, or it may be a one-time award. When you're looking at your financial packaging, you always want to wonder and find out if these packages or these scholarships are going to be only awarded for the year or for multiple years. And they'll tell you on that. A lot of times they may say, we're going to give you $40,000 scholarship. It'll be $10,000 that's renewable each year. So that means that it's not $40,000 for the year, but it's $10,000 for each year. So you want to make sure you understand that and understand if it's a one-time award, because there may be some local organizations like urban leagues or churches or, McDonald's, restaurants, things like that, that may give just a one-time award. And that may say, we're going to give you $5,000 for next year. And then you may have to go back in and try to apply again each year, but that will affect your package. So you want to make sure you're understanding in terms of your scholarship what that looks like. Okay. Then we're going to move on into the other option. The other option is work study. So these are part-time employment that gives students an opportunity to earn income. So again, it's not a grant. It's not a loan. It's not a scholarship. It's not guaranteed. These are things that you can put on your financial aid, your FAFSA application, that you want to do work study, because again, it gives you an opportunity to get a part-time job. So you're not having to pay this back, but you're pretty much working for it. This gives you an opportunity to do jobs that are available either on campus, and in some cases, they can also be off campus. Work study jobs, again, are not guaranteed, and you must apply for these positions. So even when you put that you're interested in work study on your FAFSA, it doesn't guarantee you that you'll get it. It just puts you in the running to be able to get that job. And a lot of times colleges look for students who are doing work study, and that gives them a better opportunity to get that job as well. So again, this again provides additional money to your financial package. So when you look on your financial package, you'll see work study as an option. It'll tell you however much it will be for the year and for each semester. And this is something that'll be added to your package that doesn't have to come out of pocket from your parents, which is good, or from you. And one thing I also like to say about work study is that they are usually, again, by them being on campus or affiliating with the campus, 9 times out of 10, they're going to work around your schedule, your school schedule, because they know you are there specifically not to just work there, but to seek your higher education so that you can get a great quality position in the future. So again, they're going to give you minimum hours. You should not be working work study where you're working 40 hours a week. They're giving you a couple of hours to be able to make some money that can go towards your financial aid, so that you can have a smaller package that you won't have to pay back. Okay. Next option is loans. I leave this as the last option talking about financial packages for a reason, because this should be your last option. Loans are something that I'll put here in caps, as you can see, must be paid back. There is no way around it. Any loan you get must be paid back. So I always tell people, make sure that you're looking to get grant scholarships and even work study before you even hit the idea of having to do a loan. So there's a couple of different options for loans. The first one would be probably the best loan that you could take out, which would be the subsidized loans. They're available for students that demonstrate financial need while the student is in college. The federal government pays that interest while you're in school. But once you graduate, you must begin to pay that loan back. So that's one good thing about the subsidized loan, is that they won't take out interest right away. So when you start school, your freshman year of college, you will be able to not have any interest on those loans until you are a graduate. So 4 years later. So if you take out $10,000 at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of your school years, and again, like I said, it's a freshman in college. If it's $10,000 then, when you graduate 4 years later, you're still going to owe $10,000. Again, it just has to be paid back. And once you graduate, then interest will come on those loans. So you want to try to make up a plan to pay those off as soon as possible, so that your interest rate doesn't have you having to pay a lot more money out than you normally would have to. The other option, unsubsidized loans. So again, these are also available to students. But again, the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized is that with these unsubsidized loans, when you take it out, your interest will begin immediately. So as you become a freshman in college, those loans will begin to bring interest as you are going through your years in school. And when you graduate, you will have that interest added in. So again, if you want to do a loan, subsidized would be better, because there is no interest while you're in school. The other option is that you have a Parent Plus loan. Again, these are available to your parents of undergraduate students who are considered dependent. So these are where parents will have to do a background check, or a credit check, to make sure that they are even able to receive these loans. And students whose parents don't qualify, it'll give a student a chance to maybe get additional subsidized loans, but you really, really want to have those serious conversations with your parents around the Parent Plus loan, because again, these are loans that fall under your parent. A lot of times parents don't always want to take on that additional debt for their students. And sometimes students say, okay, my parents are going to do a subsidized or a Parent Plus loan. And then time comes and school happens, and you're halfway into the school year and your parents still haven't signed that commissary note. And if that happens, then your second semester, you don't have any money to pay for your school, and then you end up having to go back home. So again, these are not anything that you can kind of wait to the last minute on. You can't play with these type of things. Schools will send you home if you don't have your money in place to be able to pay for tuition. So again, having those serious conversations with your parents around loans, and you understand the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized, so that you know what you need to do in terms of taking out loans. And I'll talk a little bit more about Parent Plus loan, because again, it's so important. If you don't know, a student is only allowed to take out about $5,500 a year in subsidized loans. That is your cap. So when schools cost $20,000 and $30,000 or more, you are only allowed to take out $5,500. This Parent Plus loan allows a parent to take out extra money for their child's education. But you must always remember, it is a higher interest rate when a parent takes out a loan. And again, this is something that your parents have to commit to doing. You can't sign off on it for your parents. They have to do it as well. So you want to be mindful that you have these conversations with your parents about these loans, because it gets really tricky. And when you take out a PLUS loan, the U.S. Department of Education is the lender. But unlike federal direct loans, you'll need to have an acceptable credit history. Again, like I said, they will do a credit check on your parents to make sure that you can get the loan. So even if they want to do it for you, they still have to pass that credit check to make sure that they're even going to be able to be allowed to take out a loan. So again, I always put that note, parents are less likely to do this, and you need to have a very serious conversation. A very serious conversation should be had around these requirements and what that looks like, and making sure that you and your parent are in agreement as you begin to sign off on loans and select schools who are going to require parents to take out a loan. Okay, so now when you're going into accepting loans, I always say they will give you an idea of how much money they're going to give you, but you have the option to choose if you want to take that much out. Say if they offer you $10,000, you don't have to take out 10. If you only need 3, you can take out 3. Don't be tempted to take out the whole 10,000 if you don't have to, because again, you have to pay this back at some point. No reason for you to take more than what you need, unless you have a plan for paying that information back. Okay. But again, you can turn it down. Then also to determine how much loan money to accept, make a list of your colleges and living expenses and what those resources look like. You want to make sure that you're taking a fact sheet that has at least your top 3 schools and breaking down how much it's going to cost to attend these schools and how much loans or money you have to accept to be able to go to these schools, so that you know what you need to take out and what you can decline and send back. And remember, if you don't accept the full amount of the loan you're eligible for, you can always increase this at a later time. So say you get one of those one-time only scholarships. So your freshman year, your full tuition is covered, but you know in your head, or maybe you only have to take about $1,000 of loan out, and they offered you 5. So I'll wait. Maybe next year when I lose that couple of $1,000 from the non-renewable scholarship, I'll be able to increase my amount. So you want to, again, understand how you work the loans and make it so that it is a way that it'll work for you and for your financial situation. Again, making the least amount of loans as possible so you don't have to pay as much back. All right, and then in terms of accepting your loan, your student aid offer will include directions on accepting your aid. So follow those directions carefully. You might have to enter the amount you're accepting in an online form. A lot of times, schools will require you to specifically go into their online portal where you'll be able to see your financial package, and you'll be able to accept whatever loans or scholarships that they're offering you. You'll always receive a paper offer in the mail. You'll be able to look at that. But 9 times out of 10, you'll have to go online and accept what you're going to take in, and it goes directly to the school, and they'll know what type of loans you're going to take, scholarships, anything. That'll all be online. And accepting a loan or a grant listed in the aid offer may involve additional steps. So again, you may have to say yes. If you're getting a loan, you're going to have to sign that master promissory note. And a lot of times with loans, you have to go through a interest counseling class. Make sure you pay attention to it. Don't just put it on and walk away and do some other things. They're giving you information that's very important to your loans. And especially if it's your first federal loan, you want to make sure you understand what that means for you, what their process is to ensure that you get that back, all of that. You want to make sure that you fully understand what that looks like. Okay. Now, when we talk about a financial package, we always want to make sure we understand what net cost means. A lot of times students or families don't know what net cost means. It means what you truly have to pay out of pocket to attend a school. A lot of people think a net cost or the cost is, I'm going to a school and it costs me $60,000. That doesn't mean that's what it's going to cost you. You first have to find the cost of attendance for your program on that aid offer letter. So if your school doesn't list the cost of attendance on the aid offer, ask a financial aid officer so that you can figure this out. Your total cost will include your tuition and fees, as well as the living expenses, books, supplies, transportation. All of that information will encompass what it costs to attend there. It's not just tuition. It's everything that comes with you being able to be successful and not have to worry about anything while you're there. And so from there, you subtract any grants you received, any scholarship money, any money that your parents or your family is going to give you towards your cost of tuition. The remaining amount is your net out-of-pocket cost. So again, if I'm a student and I'm going to a school, never think that because a school is $60,000 that you can't go if you don't have any money. That doesn't matter. So you may be a student who, I'm going to go to a school that costs $60,000 and my financial situation and allows me to get a lot of money from the in terms of grants. So say I get $20,000 in grants, and then also I'm really high up, I'm number one in my class, I'm the valedictorian, I have excellent SAT and ACT scores, then now I'm also able to receive a scholarship. The scholarship in the amount of $30,000 to $40,000. And guess what? That's your $60,000, which means you can, I've seen students come with zero net cost. So you want to compare that net cost for any schools that you're considering. I always say towards the end of the year, you should have no more than probably about 3 options where you're able to take your financial package, write that at the top, and say, this is how much it's going to cost me to go. Again, including your tuition, your fees, your living expenses, books, supplies, and transportation, making sure you have all of that in place. And then from there, you put that cost there, you deduct any grants, scholarships, work studies that you have available, and you look at the bottom and you determine, do I want to go to school where I'm going to owe $7,000 net cost, 0 net cost, or $2,000 net cost? And again, it depends on what school that is. Maybe you want to go to the school where you have to pay out of pocket $2,000 if that's the school you've been dreaming of going to for 4 years. It really just depends. But looking at that net cost will give you the real deal in terms of where you are and being able to attend those schools. So let's look at our financial package. So in terms of a financial package, it has a lot of these things here. I always want to stop and say the first thing, FAFSA has to be completed in order to receive a financial package. I have to repeat that again. FAFSA has to be completed in order to receive a financial package. If you do not complete FAFSA, the colleges will receive none of your financial information from you or your parent, and it's not complete until you put in your information and your parents' information, and then it is signed off and completed. When it goes off to the school, and I believe you can put up to 10 schools on your FAFSA. Once you complete that, all of your information will go to those schools, and you should be able to come back with a financial package, okay? FAFSA has to be done first. And it's usually broken down by semester. So you'll get your year. It'll say this is how much it costs to attend our school this year. And they break it down by semesters. So semester 1, I'll get this much. Semester 2, I will get this much. And it has your cost of attendance. And again, we just talked about this. This is an estimate of what you can expect to pay in terms of tuition, fees, room and board, books, supplies, and transportation. That will be included. Then it will also give what they've received from FAFSA as your expected family contribution. It's a number that your school uses to determine how much financial aid you're eligible for. Again, despite the name, it's about how much your family will have to pay for college, okay? That's what it is, expected family contribution, how much they're thinking you're gonna have to pay to be able to go to the school based off your and your parents' financial information. Then it'll also list here more things coming off. College, grants, scholarship info listed. Whether it's awarded by the school, community, or private organization, will start to break down. Here's how much grants you're gonna get. Here's how much scholarships you're getting. Then on the bottom, it'll also have your work study amount. If you say it on your FAFSA and click that option, I do want to get work study, it will tell you how much work study you'll be able to be offered. And then in the end, it'll tell you about your loans. So again, this financial package will break down everything financially on what that looks like at the schools that you're going to. So you never want to make a decision on where you're going to school at until you have fully looked at your financial package and you understand it completely. Okay? All right. So again, the last thing I'll say before I end is that you want to take your financial package, you want to look at those financial packages, and you want to make sure that you determine what's best for you. Take that financial package with your parent, or you can make appointments with me where we can sit down, me, you, and your parent, and talk through what that looks like. Because your financial package can change. It can change because you may get more scholarships. It may change because maybe you can reach out to the school and say, hey, is there any additional money? It is a negotiable option sometimes. So I say this is what the school is offering you, but it's negotiable because you still have time. You still have time to look for more scholarships, grants, and you still have more time to advocate for yourself with the colleges and universities. And then as you get towards the end, you want to make sure that you're happy with that financial package. And if you're not, that might not be the school for you. You want to make sure that you're finding the school that's going to support you in terms of what options and how much money you and your family can afford to go to school. Okay? So if you want to sit down, take a little time, you can always make up an appointment again with me to sit down and go over this financial package in detail. Or if you haven't received your financial package, it's always good to reach out to the financial aid department and ask them if they can send you a financial package. Or if you haven't received it, it might be possible that something may have been wrong with your FAFSA. So you want to go and check that as well. But again, wanted to give you guys some updates on your financial aid. And again, I'll see you at the next virtual meeting that we have. All right.